Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial by blenderschool.webs.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create this nice glowing nutty gradient text in Blender. Now I wasn't going to be creating this tutorial, but most of you requested me a tutorial on this render in my site, and so I thought let's create a tutorial on this. So we'll be creating this and it's very easy to create, and I'll be using Blender version 2.73a for this and the cycles render engine. So let's get started. Let's open a new scene in Blender. File new, then reload startup file. So this is the default scene in Blender. Start by deleting the cube by pressing X and then delete. Then press Shift A and then select text. Zoom in using the scroll wheel on your mouse. Come in the edit mode by pressing the tab key and change your text. I'm going to be writing Blender. Come out of the edit mode by pressing the tab key again, and we are going to be rotating the text, so press R, then X, then 90, and then enter. Now just drag out this panel to view more properties. Go to the object data panel, which has a F icon. Change the extrude value to be 0.1. Don't change the depth or the resolution. And if you want to change the font, come over here in the regular and then click on this open button to change the font. But I'm going to be using the default font. Then come down and you'll find the paragraph section and change the alignment from left to center. Let's convert our text to a mesh. So press Alt C, then select Mesh from Curve Meta Surf Text. This has converted our text to a physical mesh which can be edited. You'll find some areas in our mesh which are not proper. So there are some extra vertices in our whole mesh. So let's remove them by using the Remove Doubles tool. So press A once or twice till everything is selected or highlighted. Then press T to bring up Tools panel. Come down and then select Remove Doubles. As you can see, it has removed about 1000 vertices, which is good. And now the next problem which is there is that the geometry is not so even. The curved areas have more vertices than the straight regions. So let's make the geometry more even. So come in the Modifiers tab and select Add Modifier, then select Remesh. Start by unchecking Remove Disconnected Pieces, then increase the artery depth. Uh, let it be 7. Now you can go till 8 if you want more resolution, but I think 7 is fine. If you have much more complex fonts, so you may have to increase that. I'm going to come in the front view and an orthographic view using the view menu. Next we are going to be adding a wireframe modifier. So in the add modifier, select wireframe. Start by unchecking replace even thickness, and then change the thickness to be about 0.002. This thickness gives you a nice netty kind of feel. Now because of the remesh modifier, our geometry is much more even, and that's why the wireframe modifier also looks much more good. So now our text is basically ready. Let's create the floor. So for the floor I'm going to be using a plane. So to add that, press Shift A, and from mesh select plane. Come in the front view, then press S and then 100 and enter. Move your plane just below the text by pressing G and then Z. Just move it down, just like that. Also, we don't want the lamp. Select the lamp by right clicking on it and delete it by pressing X and delete. Let's save the project. So from File menu, select Save. Select your directory and save it. Let's start by adding the materials now. So as I told you, I'm going to be using the Cycles render engine. So change Blender render to be the Cycles render engine. Come in the Worlds panel and change the world's color to be black. Next, we are going to be changing adding the material for the text. So come in the Materials panel and then click New. Now change this to be the node editor, and now delete the diffuse node by selecting it and pressing X. Let's add the emission, which is going to emit light, which is going to give us that glowing effect. So press Shift A and from shader, select emission. Place it over here. Press Shift D to duplicate it and place it just below the before emission shader. Let's mix both the shaders. So for that, let's add in a mix shader node. So press Shift A and from shader select mix shader. Place it over here. Connect the first emission to the first input, and then the output of the emission to the material output input. And now we can change the emission color. So for this one, it's a good idea to use the opposite colors of the color wheel. So for this one, I'm going to be using orange, light orange, and the second one I'm going to be using blue, light blue. Now you will see that orange and blue lie to the opposite side of the color wheel. So it's a good idea to use the opposite combinations in the color wheel. You can also name this material to be glow. Now if you see this material in this preview over here, you'll see it's some other color. It's violet kind of color, but we don't want that. We want a nice gradient effect from one color to the other color. So for that we need to add something which is going to control this FAC. So for that we will be using a gradient texture node. So to add that, press Shift A and then from texture, select gradient texture, place it over here, and then connect the FAC to this FAC, and now you'll see that now we have a nice gradient effect, which is good. So now let's add the material for our plane. So come in the 3D view and select the plane by right clicking on it, and the materials panel, click new. Change the surface type to be glossy and change the roughness to be 0.05. That's good. We save it. Now let's set up the camera. So come in the view menu, select camera, then press N and select lock camera to view. Now you can set up your camera view. So that's good, I hope so. Yeah, it's good. The next thing which you're going to be doing is come in the render layers tab, render layers panel, open the passes, come down and check material index checkbox. Also select the text by right clicking on it, come in the materials tab and open the settings, come down, change this pass index to be 1. This is going to help us later in the compositor. So now we are ready and now we can set up the rendering options. So come in the renders panel and come down to sampling and you can set the number of samples. Now this scene works with less samples also. For my final scene I used about 100, but now I'm going to be using only about 50. And after changing that you can save your project and then click on this render button. It'll start. So the rendering has finished and this is the output. So now as you can see a nice gradient effect from one side to the other side. Now let's go to the compositor to add that nice glow effect. So change this UV image editor to be the node editor and then click on this render layers now and check use nodes. So now we have got the node set up. Start by moving this node over here by pressing G, this one here. As you can see in the render layers, we have got index MA for the material. So what we want is that the glow should be there only for the text and not for the entire scene. If we just add in a blur node now, it's gonna also blur this plane reflections over here. So let's separate the text from the entire scene. So to do that, let's add in a ID mask node. So press Shift A and from don't tell me that I again forgot where that is. Yeah, from converter ID mask. Place it over here. Connect the index MA to this and change the index to be 1. Now if I connect a viewer node over here and check backdrop, you'll see that the whole text is white now. This has separated the text from our image, from our render. Let's add in a mix node. So press Shift A, from color select mix, place it over here, uh, connect the ID mask to the FAC and the image to be in the bottom input, backdrop. Yeah, and change this color to be black. Now as you can see only our text is there with the material. Rest of the scene is just black. So now we can do the editing with this image. So start by adding in a blur node. So press Shift A and then from filter select blur. Place it over here. Change the type to be fast Gaussian and change the x to be 20 and the y also to be 20. Duplicate this node by pressing Shift D, place it down, connect this image to be this image, and change the x and y to be 10. Now let's mix both of these blur by adding a mix node again. So press Shift A, from color select mix, place it over here, connect both the blur and change the type to be screen. Let's see how it looks. So as you can see, I've got the blurred image. Now let's combine the final this scene, this to this. So again, we're gonna be adding in a mix node. So to duplicate this, press Shift D and then put it over here. And take this image and put it over here. Now as you can see, we have got the glow. You can use this FAC to control it. I'm gonna put this image to the top input so we can control the blur. So I think I used about zero point 0.5 to get subtle blur. I knew that from a file window, but this looks good. So this is the whole tutorial, guys, and it's very easy. You can apply this to most of the objects. It's a nice effect, and we didn't use any solid color for this. We have used about two colors, and we have got many other colors also, like violet, pink. Nice combination. So this is a tutorial, and now you can save this by pressing F3 and saving it. So that's it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Subscribe for more. Also request me some tutorials in my site, and you can download the finished dot blend from my site blendescularwebs.com. And thanks for watching, and please subscribe and leave a comment.